Okay, so this is the review session for the comic bento box for April. The theme was Elementals. First book up was Book of Death by Valiant. It's rated T+, written by Robert Venditti with art by Robert Gill with Doug Braithwaite. Reprints Book of Death 1 through 4, 160 pages, $14.99 price on the volume. Original cover price would have been $16, so only a slight decrease from the original issues there. But it does have kind of a nice foil stamped cover here, title, as well as these triangular symbols on the front, so that's definitely a neat aspect on the book. High production value as usual with Valiant. Their stuff is always very well done, nice binding, nice glossy pages, so in that regard I can't complain at all. Not as much of a discount from cover price as what we're used to seeing on the Valiant stuff, but given that this is a mini-series collection, it's kind of to be expected because they're not getting you into the next volume because there is no next volume. Overall, going to give it a 4.0. A lot of the characters that were even pictured on the cover didn't appear anywhere in the book. It's definitely more something that was going to be interesting to people who are already reading a lot of the other Valiant series, but it wasn't so tied into everything else that you really needed to have that, so I'm giving it at least a little bit of benefit of the doubt on that. Next up, though, we have Surface Tension by Jay Gunn. This is not rated, but it's definitely a mature rated book. There is some nudity involved in some of the earlier pages from Titan as the publisher on this one. Reprints Surface Tension 1 through 5. It's 176 pages, $16.99 on the volume. Original cover price would have been $20. The story was a very interesting take on things with, creatures from the ocean and an isolated island. It was definitely something that took a little while to get into, but it wasn't something that was difficult to get into. It just was a very slow build to what the story was overall. Going to give it a 7.0. Definitely worth the read. Definitely something that's staying on the shelf for right now. I'd be hesitant to give it up right away because I do think it was a very different take on storytelling. Self-contained story, so I don't need to worry about whether or not something else is going to change how it affects stories in the future. So definitely worth a read there on that one. Next up is The 4 Points, Volume 1. Again, as mentioned in the unboxing, this is a Comic Bento exclusive cover on this one. It is not rated, from Aspen Comics. Written by Scott Lobdell, with art by Jordan Gunderson and John Eric and Mark Roslan. Reprints The 4 Points 1 through 5. It's 132 pages, $12.99 cover on the volume. Original cover price for those issues would have been $20. I'm giving this a 1.0. I really want to give Scott Lobdell the benefit of the doubt that his X-Men run was heavily editorially influenced and that there were a lot of things that didn't happen the way he intended them to, but history has not held up well. His storytelling has been very lackluster for many, many years, and this is no exception. So for a variety of publishers, his stuff has been just kind of and this really tied into that. There were a lot of places where the scene just kind of seemed to skip a whole section of what was going on. They would start to have a fight with the villains, and then we skipped right to the end, and there wasn't really any explanation as to what was going on. So I wasn't crazy about that. I really thought the art was okay. The only reason I'm really even giving it the 1.0 is because I really like the idea of the Comic Bento exclusive cover. That makes one of the things about this subscription box unique, but not a variant hunt the way some of the other things that are out there are, because most people aren't looking for variant covers on trade paperbacks because it's already pre-printed. So that one, not something that's going to be something I'm interested in keeping. Last volume in the box, though, was the Fantastic Four Season 1, Volume 1 and only. It's rated T+ from Marvel, with art by David Marquez, written by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa. Hope I got that right. It's an original graphic novel with some reprinted material in the back from the next series that they were doing at the time. 136 pages, $24.99. Review on it, 9.0. Loved the art, loved the story. This was just an excellent kickoff. Much like the Daredevil one from the previous months, this was just a great introduction to the character without all of the hype or baggage from previous stories. I loved this one even more than the Daredevil because I do have a little bit of an affinity for the Fantastic Four. This was a beautifully done piece. Loved it, loved it, loved it. The only reason I'm not going to give it a 10 is because of two reasons. One, they didn't continue with the series the way DC has done with the Earth 1 stories and having a Volume 2 or a Volume 3. They have completely abandoned the Season 1 concept and are going with, liquidation on what's there. I really would love to have seen what this team could have done with Fantastic Four Season 1, Volume 2. That would have been beautiful. So that I wasn't happy about. And the code that expired before a lot of people would have been able to buy it. Throwing that in as a benefit, but having an expiration on it just sits wrong with me, and I didn't care for that. So, on its own, definitely a 9.0. It could have gotten a 10 if Marvel had done a couple of things a little bit better. Value on the box, $70. A little bit lower than the last 2 months, but I think there was more stuff in here that was worth keeping than in some of the previous months. So, kind of a mixed bag, not as high value, but definitely some better stuff. So I will be back in the not too distant future with the unboxing for the May box, which has now shipped, and we will get to that then. Talk to you later.